Welcome, everybody. I invite you to take your seats so we can get started. Good morning, everybody. Did you hear about the guy who put World War II figures in his coffee every morning? He heard that the best part of waking up was soldiers in your cup. How many of you remember Soldier's Coffee? Yeah, there's a few of you. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. I'm Jenna Isabel Rose, your MC for this morning. I have a business called Phoenix Rose Create. I help you put the wow in your work. My goal and passion is in showing people about the fun of visual composition. Whether you work in 2D, 3D, or anything visual, I can help you put the wow in your work. I'm offering one-on-one consultations, and I'm starting to launch a few free websites on the really fundamentals. I've got one out there right now, and more to come. So if you're interested, follow me on Patreon. You get behind the scenes videos of me doing things and the fun things that happen during the creative process. 1 Million Cups is founded by the Kauffman Foundation. It's national. There are literally millions of people every morning this time of day that are coming together. Entrepreneurs, supporters of entrepreneurs, people who want to learn about being an entrepreneur, to share a cup of coffee. This is a very unique, very wonderful organization that we are all just thrilled to be a part of. I like to thank our coffee roaster, Sleepy Turtle Coffee Company. Please come up.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Kirsty. I'm owner of the Sleepy Turtle Coffee Co. I am a mobile coffee shop here in Colorado Springs. I have been doing pop-ups, grand openings, stuff like that, but I've been transitioning also into private labeling and wholesaling. I also, starting in the fall, will be doing a community-supported agriculture here in both Colorado Springs and in Denver at the Denver Botanical Gardens. So you can pay into like a little subscription that you can get coffee, bread, local organic mushrooms, teas, all sorts of stuff. So if you have any questions, just reach out to me after.
And let's thank our coffee sponsor, Colorado Enterprise Fund.
I brought my Colorado Enterprise Fund cup, and I'm trying to get more. Maybe you guys would all like to have a CEF cup. We're your friends. Colorado Enterprise Fund, we're a nonprofit CDFI, meaning that we lend to small businesses. We kind of lend in that space where you're almost bankable, but not quite there, and we do the wraparound services so that if you need, so that you basically outgrow us and become more successful. So thank you for all the entrepreneurs here that I think you're all freedom fighters and amazing. Thanks.
And we have coffee, but what would the coffee be good without our cups? So our cup sponsor is the BBB SBDC. And I love your cup, but that's right. Thank you. And we like you too. Thank you so much. And you know what? The BBB likes all of you. We actually invest yearly. I'm not sure that I'm allowed to give the number, but let's just say it's large in supporting our local and small businesses. And we also advertise. Right now, we advertise for the Trust Factor, and we're building Scam Busters. That's coming out. And we advertise quite a bit. So we get over 133,000 hits on our local website per month, which is fantastic. And so then once BBB for Good is rolled out as well, we then will be, I need to take a breath. We will then be advertising for that and then putting all of our socially conscious businesses on the website. So we just continue to grow and then support our local small businesses. So the Better Business Bureau, Southern Colorado.
We have one presenter today, and because of that, we generally tend to do our community announcements now. So if you have a community announcement, we have a few caveats on this. It needs to be free of charge here, Colorado Springs area. Please just list your event, all the pertinent details, and if anybody does have an announcement, come on up.
And one more caveat.
Or
benefit the business community.
free or benefit the business community. Thank you. All right, Flip, you up?
All right, how many of you have a car? All right. Well, my daughter's Subaru was just not running well. We took it to a shop. They didn't know how to fix it. I was at kind of a loss. I found this guy, Triple G, and he knew what to do, and it runs beautifully. So if you have a car and you have something that needs to be done, from my 2019 Pathfinder to the 2001 Subaru, it's a good guy to talk to.
I don't think I could get a much more better introduction than that. And so I've worked on probably a dozen of you guys in the audience's cars. Tomorrow, I think that Carla was going to announce this, but I got up first. Tomorrow at 4:30 at. Well, just come up. Tomorrow, I think she'll tell you a little more. It's the PRISM Awards. It's the National Institute for Social Impact Awards for the Southern Colorado and Northern Colorado. And if you're not sure what a social impact is, you should definitely come check it out, because if you're here, you are a social impact entrepreneur or supporter. So this is something that you can come and check out. I'm not sure if there's still some tickets available, but I'm pretty sure Carla's going to come talk to you about that.
Well, there's not a whole lot more for me to say, other than, yes, there are a few tickets left. The space holds 175 people, so it is at the Spring Hill Suites Element Hotel downtown. We're starting out in the atrium, apparently, and then going to move up to the Illuminate upstairs. So you'll get one drink ticket with purchase of ticket, and then hors d'oeuvres, tapas, kind of thing. But what else was I going to say? National Institute for Social Impact. It is actually a statewide event, and boy, last I heard there were only like 30 tickets left. So if you do want to go, I mean, let me know before I leave, okay? Thank you. 4:30 to 7. And so the networking starts at 4:30. The event actually starts at 5:30. All right, thank you.
Good morning, 1 million cups family, friends that are family, right? So what are we talking about today? So Monday is Nerd Night, or not Nerd Night, Memoirs. And Carla Wink, who is just up here for 3 things, is going to be telling her story about freedom. We're also going to have Kimberly Gold, if any of you know who she is. And we have a Toastmaster, another one, in Paula Levy, who's going to also be telling her story. So that's going to be a pretty amazing night of stories. And then next Wednesday, so Monday is Memoirs, Wednesday is Nerd Night. We're going to have Rachel Langley, who's usually here, but she's not here today, talk about flight surgery, so if you want to know what that is. And we're going to have Seth Harris, who's going to talk about the theater of cruelty. Does anybody know what the theater of cruelty is? Well, come to Nerd Night and you'll find out. And then, of course, we have the Best of the West Wing Fest, emceed by Frank Sinclair. Lots of local businesses coming together. We're all going to come together. All these restaurants are competing so that you can vote on who makes the best wings in Colorado Springs. So that's what I've got for today. Thank you.
I'm squeezing in because I want to remind everyone that there are 5 open chairs in the front here. So if you squeeze in at the end, don't be shy. We want you to sit down so that when our presenter goes, look, there's a comfy couch over there too. When our presenter is going, you can see them and hear them a little better, and then the people that are even later than you still have a space to come into instead of having to zigzag in between. So don't be shy. Come on up, especially before the presenter starts, so that we can fill these chairs in.
And I'm a coach and trainer at Altitude Ninja, and we're starting a very special class this month. It's homegrown inside of Colorado Springs, collaboration with Flip and optimization of wellness. temple of optimization. So he will be coaching the jiu-jitsu side of things in our evasive flight and fight, parkour, and self-defense class. So 1 week will be jiu-jitsu, the next week will be parkour and conditioning with some games, and yeah, just get to know each other and have a fun time. So Altitude Ninja, Wednesday from 7 to 8, $15 drop-in rate or a $59.99 monthly class. So yeah.
And now I am happy to present Ramiro Villalobos.
Yeah. Let's take this off because I'd like to walk around. Hey, so Million Cups of Coffee. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Yeah? I'm going to stand up here and do improv and jokes because humor is my means of coping, right? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, big shout out for the Million Cups of Coffee staff and specifically Sam for sitting down with me and kind of going through, getting ready for this presentation and just kind of sharing. You know, the first question you get when you get ready to present is, you know, just tell us who you are. And I was kind of sharing with some people in the back of the room earlier, you know, that's a really tough question to ask or answer sometimes. Oftentimes to answer that question, who you are, for me, I've been conditioned for about 20 years to kind of say, well, I'm this duty title, or I'm this role, or I'm this specific kind of like box checked or whatever, these things like that. And that's not really the answer, right? Because I'm more than just a uniform. I'm more than just that. I'm a person. As a father of 5 kids, I could easily say, hey, I'm a dad. Or I'm married to the Wonder Woman and the girl of my dreams, and I'm a husband. But I'm a little bit more than just a husband and a father, too. Of course, we naturally go into these different realms of kind of trying to identify who we are. And really, my best answer for that to share with you today is who we are in this present moment. I could live on my coattails of my last 20 years, my last 37 years of life, and share with you who I was back then. But that's kind of living in the past, right? I could also tell you what I want to be. So, man, I tell you what, this whole transition process out of the military, I have tried to figure that out. And I've got a better idea than I was last time when I first met everyone here. So I'm getting a better idea of who I want to be. But really who I am today and who I am before you is a person that just genuinely cares about helping people out. As a natural leader, never sought out leadership. Leadership's kind of sought out me. I've never wanted to be the one in charge, but it just kind of falls into my lap. So that's kind of who I am today, and that's going to be sharing my story with you all. So a lot of people I've met before, they claim to be like, well, I'm not the same person at work as I am at home. Has anybody ever heard that before? Yeah, right? So I kind of have a problem with that kind of mindset and approach because why are you living 2 personalities? Why are you living 2 different things? Why not be the same person wherever you're at? Be the same person when you go to work, be the same person when you're at home, and kind of have that consistency in your life. And by the way, am I too close to the camera? Are they like looking at my stomach right now? Okay. All right. Let's back up just in case. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, you know, the big things I've been told is I've been a servant leader, helping people out. And kind of done that through just my military career, through the different things I've gone through and experienced in life. And through that piece, you know, I've been told before that, you know, hey, you're not a violent man. You're just a man that knows violence. And in being deployed and seeing hatred in my adversaries' eyes, you know, I didn't hate my enemy in those sense. I actually felt bad for them because they were ignorant. They were uneducated. They were taken advantage of, manipulated by a lot of different things that I don't have 6 minutes to talk with you about. But I felt bad for them. I felt this level of humility, right? And I both realized that we're kind of pawns in this game of life, in this game of war, these different things where our paths have crossed. I still see that individual's face. It was after doing about a 7-kilometer movement where we climbed about 7,000 feet, 4-kilometer movement, climbed about 7,000 feet with a 70-pound ruck, body armor, and weapon. It was a great day. It was a great day. Yeah, light load, right? Yeah, my back shows for that. But see, my game started off back in high school. I basically was getting recruited to play for NC State, ECU, Wake Forest University. I started varsity my freshman year. I had a 4A size school, played defensive line and middle linebacker. And things were going, I was getting recruited, meeting the coaches, touring the facilities, doing all that kind of fun jazz. And then, of course, as a junior in high school, in 2001, 9/11 happened, right? Changed my trajectory, my whole path. I felt like something needed to occur. I felt like somebody was punched us in the face, and I'm ready to go punch back. So that junior, between my junior and senior year, I joined the Army National Guard and crossed over and did that. Went to basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and that was fun for summer break. Lost some weight. Don't worry, I found it all. but you know, it was an experience there in that sense. And one of the things I learned is everyone that I was working with was like, man, if I could do it over again, I'd join the Air Force. So one of the things I learned about myself is that I'm coachable. So I joined the Air Force. It took me 3 recruiters. First 2 said never going to happen, not possible. Third recruiter's like, yeah, dude, it's easy. I've already hit my quota. This is going to be a good experience for me to do this. So I crossed into the blue, went to life sport, learned some things about life sport, taking care of people. It sounds medical, but it's not. I found that out really quick. Closest thing to medical about that is wiping snot off of visors. Not really what I was doing, right? But it was a necessary part of the job. Worked with rescue community, then I crossed over into what's called Tactical Air Control Party. It's an incredible job. This job helped me identify who I was in the sense of that I was a jump master, got to jump out of planes, got to fast rope, got to call in airstrikes and help out people and educate people. And one of the coolest things about it was we made it look so simple because all the training, all the experience that we had, but even the soldiers that we were around, they basically had those challenges too, where they didn't know all the wazoo geometry and everything else that we were doing. And through all those deployments, through all that chaos, I got introduced to something called yoga. In fact, I was going through a pretty challenging time in my life, and lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I don't recommend the diet by no means. And again, of course, I found that back again. But with that piece, what I found is through a yoga studio, I kind of stumbled on being an entrepreneur. And in that time, I kind of became an instructor, certified 200-hour instructor. Also opened up a yoga studio in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I remember this one day of why I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I got a phone call from one of my instructors and said, hey, we got a problem. And I said, okay, sweet. Just do this, call this person, and just make this happen. She's like, okay. I got off the phone. I was like, holy crap. I didn't have to come up with a PowerPoint slide. I didn't have to come up with 3 different recommendations and courses of actions that kind of maybe gets approved and that kind of thing. I just made a decision and led through it. And I was like, man, this feels really good. So our yoga studio went on. We ended up having 1,800 clientele in a matter of 8 months. We crushed it just because we took care of my operating principle was take care of my team. My team will take care of my yogis, and my yogis will take care of the studio. Plus, the Air Force is putting food on my table, so I didn't have to worry about money, which really, really helps you out as an entrepreneur. Where you just worry about your mission, you focus on your mission. You don't have to worry about the money's going to come. Fast forward through being a PME instructor, had a challenge in identity in that process, and then now I'm back here at Carson. I'm going through another identity crisis. So really, to answer that question, who are you? Man, that's a challenge for sure. I'm a lot of things, but today I'm just sharing my story with you. And with my story, I'm going to share you another story. This is going to be a little bit shorter. Time? You doing okay? Oh, sweet. All right, let me pull up a chair. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so what got me into what I'm looking at doing right now, right? One of the lessons I learned in my yoga studio is that the number 1 rule in business is to solve a problem. If you can solve a problem and provide a solution to people, they will give you money for that said solution, right? So Hurricane Michael just hit. Destroyed the base that I was living at in Panama City. We were homeless for about 6 months. The Air Force took really great care of us, did some Airbnbs, different things like that. It was awesome. We moved up to Montgomery, Alabama, and Wetumpka, Alabama, if you know anybody about that place. Actually, really pretty spot. If you like the country, kind of like the country and a little bit of city life, it's a good mixture. But I had to go to Florida for a quick trip. And so about 10:30 at night, I get a FaceTime call from my wife. Babe, there's somebody outside. And I was like, what? Okay. So now I'm starting to feel like Liam Neeson and Taken, right? I'm like, what do I do? Somebody's outside. My house is getting attacked, that kind of thing, right? I know a special set of skills. Too bad I hadn't showed my wife a special set of skills before I actually showed up to the house and I went to Florida, right? And so she's going through and she's got her cell phone, right? And she's got it big, all the brightness is turned all the way up, right? And she's turning every light on in the house and she's walking through and I'm like, what are you doing? They know exactly where you're at. If they are out there, whoever they is, they know exactly where you're at. Turn off the lights. You've got home field advantage. You know where the furniture's at. You know where everything's at. Turn the lights off. She's like, okay. So whenever I got back home from Florida, that night, or one of the nights I got home, we actually went through our house, and I had her go stand outside of the house, and I went through and I turned the light on in the master bedroom. I'm like, where am I? She's like, master bedroom. It's like, sweet. I walked over into the kitchen. Where am I? Oh, you're in the kitchen. I can actually see your silhouette through the blinds. I was like, okay. So I kept walking through the house, and she's like, I know exactly where you're at. I was like, okay, hold on 1 second. I turned all the lights off. Hey, where am I? I have no idea. And that was that moment where I was teaching her the differences of defending your home and the different advantages of doing those kind of things. No gun, no weapon, no anything like that, no Lipton iced tea or whatever that thing was, right? But it's showing her and teaching those different things. So here I am, jump master, JTAC extraordinaire, done all this stuff and done all this training, yet my family if I wasn't there, was going to be susceptible to possibly being attacked. So that's what came up with Patriot Home Defense Consulting. Our whole mission is to come in and show and equip you how to de-escalate a situation, how to set your home up where it's properly postured with furniture, with lighting, with different things along those lines, and to set it up so whenever you're away from your family, they know how to defend themselves in case the worst happens. So that's myself. That's kind of my story. I know I've gone over time, but I'm definitely open for questions. Also, brand new in this business, so starting everything out.
Thank you. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll bring the microphone over.
Oh, thank you. Hey, good morning. First, I want to acknowledge you for sharing your story and just being real about how you're going through an identity crisis.
Thanks, Louis.
I would say that really resonates with me from like the last year or two. And my question to you is, what kind of questions are you asking yourself in this stage of your life to learn more about yourself and create yourself to be who you want to be right now?
Great question, man. Great question. Thank you for that. So I had the pleasure. The Air Force came up with this concept of it's kind of like a dating app for mentors and developers. It's pretty sweet. You actually put in all like, I want this credentials, I want this person, I want that person at this level, whatever. And out pops all this like dating list and profiles of people that you can talk to. It's pretty sweet. So I met this individual. He had been in the military about 20 years, had his master's degree and all this other kind of stuff like that. And the first thing he asked me, he's like, what's your vision statement? And I was like, what? And how many times as entrepreneurs do we actually have a vision statement, a mission statement for our business? Which is great, right? We got to know what we're doing. We got to know where we're going. But as individuals, I would challenge yourself, and what I've been asking myself is, what is my vision statement? What's my mission statement? So for me, and he said, hey, don't be giving me that crap about like be the best airman in the world and be a really good worker. No, he wants depth. So I gave him that. And I said, okay. So after about a month of tweaking it and working on it, and I've tweaked it a little bit since then, I'll share with you my vision statement. Every single breath's a gift from God that I don't waste on mediocrity or laziness, but live life to the fullest. And that's who I am. And that's one of those things whenever I come to those walls, right? If you ever run at least if you ever run an obstacle course or anything like that, where like a Spartan run or anything, you see this big giant wall and you're like, I got to get over it. It's giving you an affirmation and having at least that place to go to know what's my vision of who I want to be when I meet those obstacles. Because obstacles are going to come. I mean, everybody in here is an entrepreneur. We all have our obstacles. So know my vision statement. My mission statement's lead, mentor, and have fun. Life's too short. If I teach yoga, by the way, too. And my class, I actually joke around a little bit, too, because, well, I don't look like a yogi, typical. So, but it's have fun in life. Life's too short to be so serious all the time. And coming from a profession that is very serious, it's kind of nice to adjust and adapt for humor. So hopefully that answers your question, Luis. Yeah, brother. Thank you.
How do you deliver your specialized knowledge? Is it through videos or in person, or and how do you do marketing?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm in the early stages of this. Working on. I've got 0 clients right now, and it's partly by design because I'm trying to be slow to release this because I've got retirement ceremony, just bought a house, a lot of personal things going on with that piece like that. So I'm in a place where I can have that flexibility to not have to ramp it up, but just kind of tactfully build up momentum, right? So with that, how I envision this, so let's say you're my client. I come to your house, depending on what package you decide to get, and you guys can see the packages on the handouts. But depending on what package you get, I come in, and your house is a training grounds. So your house is where I'm going to give you some information. We're going to be using U.S. Law Shield and some other resources to kind of give you state, local, and federal laws to kind of get everybody informed of their rights. And then if you got the basic package, brother, I'm just going to look at it and say, okay, hey, maybe that hand cannon and that 50 cal big giant gun and caliber, it's probably not the best thing to defend your house with because you're going to shoot your neighbor's cat as you try to start spraying through the house and that go through the sheetrock and those different things. So it's going to be a lot of in-person. I'm there with you and I'm sharing with you. From the premium package all the way up to the premium package where I'm there for 7 hours, we're hanging out, and now we're going through rehearsals on how to de-escalate, rehearsals on how to properly posture your stuff using a method that I came up with called STOP, Specific Targets and Opportunistic Posturing. And that kind of going more in depth in that. You have to come talk to me for a little bit more of that. But hopefully that answers your question, just a lot of more in person. Video snippets will be out there for that piece. That'll eventually come. And actually, you kind of planted that seed in that piece, previous cups of coffee. So, but yeah, hopefully that answers your questions.
So tell us about the different perspectives that you learned from like the military, which is very, let's call it yang, and then being a yogi and the things you learn there, which is a little more yin.
Yeah, great question. So I'll answer your question with a story, if that's okay. So I'd have one of my classes that I would do in Spring Lake was a military PT class, right? And for the entrepreneurs in the fitness industry, as a leader, and I want to take my teammates to go to a training event, it'll be like we were going to go to a rock climbing gym. They're like, yeah, we'd love to have you. It's $15 per person. And I'm like, I've got 20 people, 15 times 20. I'm going to have them come out of pocket. I want to do something fun. Like I can't afford that. Then they can't afford that. And those kind of things like that. So what I did is I made the structure of the class $45. They got 90 minutes of yoga, 10 mats, and they could get up to 35 people in my studio. And I would start the class off, to answer your question, I'd start the class off in this. In my job, in my previous job, I got to start getting used to saying that. In my previous job, my job entailed a little bit of this. I had all the radios on the ground, talking to me in this ear. I had all the aircraft talking to me in this ear. I had artillery shooting, deconflicting that with aircraft flying in different spaces. I've got friendlies moving here. I'm battle tracking where the actual target is, the enemy are at. And then I'm also processing this all through radios. And oh, by the way, I've got a headset on where I can talk to you audibly like this. A lot of data, a lot of chaos going on, right? Oftentimes that seems so foreign when I share that with people, but it's really not. And the aspects of yogi and that gray matter, you got the same thing going on, right? You're getting pulled to this meeting. You're getting pulled to that meeting. You've got to go and do this accounting budget. You've got to go do all these different things. So you're managing just as much. One of the challenging things I had is when I was a professional military educator, where I'm sitting in a classroom of 20 people. I'm having to listen to this person. This person's not paying attention, so I need to ask them questions, and I'm managing all that stuff. And it all comes back to the mind and the breath, right? Oftentimes, public speaking, you come to this place where what happens usually when you're doing public speaking? Breath gets short, gets kind of like, you maybe talk a little bit faster. Hopefully I haven't been doing it too bad today, but you start doing have you ever seen the pacers? Those are the great ones. Or the dancers, where they're going to do that kind of stuff. And it all comes back to the heart and to the mind. So whether you're out calling in airstrikes, you're out handling your job and you're building your business, you're at home handling your family and doing those different things, it all comes back being in the center and finding peace and being able to have that peace in that storm, no matter what the situation is. So that's kind of what I shared with the soldiers whenever we come to my class. And that was our whole mission, was to make yoga approachable, because oftentimes people think, oh, I've got to be this super stretchy, like wear yoga pants and have a man bun, that kind of stuff. No offense to man buns, by the way. I said that comment in a 500-hour teacher training class, and there was a guy with man bun and yoga pants, and I was like, I got to own this one. So, but hopefully, Flip, that answers your question. Yeah.
So we've started to explore your design a little bit, and it's becoming very clear where you are. We all get stopped by something, all of us. What's the one thing that stops you, and how do you then move forward?
That's a great question. I would have to say the one thing that stops me is, and just being transparent and vulnerable with you guys, is just insecurity, is having doubt. Is sitting there questioning, can I really actually do this? Is questioning, like, am I capable of doing this? And, you know, the natural response, right? The easy button for me right now is just to re-enlist. The economy's not doing the greatest. Trying to be an entrepreneur is kind of crazy in this economy sometimes. Maybe not. Maybe you need a little bit of crazy. But really that doubt and overcoming that doubt, overcoming that insecurity and just telling yourself and those things. And going back to Luis's questions, like having that vision and mission statement, I know where I'm going. I don't know exactly the path or the trail, but I know I'm going somewhere, and I know where I'm going. And that's a question I ask a lot of my students whenever they come into my professional military education training. I say, how the hell can you lead if you don't know where you're going? If you've ever been to like Disney or any kind of like park map, you got to have an azimuth. So if I've got to get from me to Joe, I know that if I use my compass, it's going to give me a certain 0.98 degrees out of a compass of 360 degrees, right? Well, if I know it's 0.98, as long as I know where I'm going, I can go left and I can go right, but I know I can go back and know where I'm going and have those goals. So hopefully, Robert, that answers your question. That piece is just kind of overcoming that insecurity and doubt.
Not only did you answer his question, I want to give you an applause for that vulnerability. That was incredible.
Thanks,
so thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
Right. So as you unwrap this Oh my, can you hold a little bit?
How's it taste?
Like in my nose. I know, right? Yeah. Put some vanilla or something on it. So
essential oils, Sam can hook you up.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to hold her hand here. Yeah. I had an opportunity to meet with you and sort of get an opportunity to wrap my head around where you were going in such a much needed space. You have the opportunity that most entrepreneurs don't, as far as creating slow tactics for movement, which is really cool. So do you have a timeline as you think about this, unleashing it in our community, and is there a specific target audience that you're going to unleash it to?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
And that was a good meeting, connecting with you too, man. I learned a lot from you. So timeline and kind of target audience. I'll go with the target audience first. So there's three kinds of people in this world. You have your sheep, you have your sheepdog, and your wolf. And if you've heard this explanation, just fact check me, make sure I'm on point describing this correctly. So I'll start with the wolf. The wolf obviously wants to attack the sheep. Obviously wants to kill the sheep. They're out there. They're in the woods. They like to hide. They like to kind of hide in either plain sight or hide behind the bushes. And they stalk and they prey, right? One of the things I've learned from warfare is it's evolved and completely changed in today's time frame. It's no longer pulling a trigger or dropping a bomb. It's involving a lot of aspects of here in the States in our home. Now, I'm not talking about Red Dawn, although I watched that movie, and my kids watched that movie, and I'm like, when I was a kid, I thought that was pretty cool, but now I'm like, ooh, that's real. Anyways. But my target audience is anyone who wants to be able to know and understand how to defend their home. Ideally gun owners, just because gun owners are there's a lot of gun owners out there. There's a lot of people who, in fear, have bought this now firearm that can take a life. But they don't know how to operate it. They don't know how to use it. They're not thinking, hey, what's behind that sheetrock? What's behind that wall whenever I pull this trigger? So it's a very introductory level approach with that piece. So that's kind of our main target audience, if you will. So anybody, anywhere, if you're interested in learning this training, we'll definitely come to your house and share it with you. So apartments, homeowners, those different things, it's agnostic to that. Timeline. So just share my timeline. I retire officially August 5th, and then I'll start going into an internship that I just got locked into. So that'll be happening, and then be able to start doing these things. What I foresee this playing out is that gaining momentum. So today is really breaking a little bit of the ice of putting it out there publicly. We have a Facebook page that I haven't been aggressively marketing per se, just because of the timing and slow rolling. But this is putting this out there to a point where it's like, hey, we're here. I've talked with actually Kenny on different things with switchbacks and getting plugged out and plugged in the community. But it's I would say within the next 6 months, I'd like to at least have my first 20 clients to go to their homes and do those different things. I've got other friends of mine who have similar training who are going to follow this and do 1099 kind of contractors. So the workload piece, I don't plan on doing all the work, because as entrepreneurs, we know that, right? You don't go into business to get into overworked, that kind of thing, right? So I have plenty of other solutions for that for growth to be able to go from that piece. So I would say within the next 6 months, I'd like to have 20 clients and accomplished, and do different things like incentivizing our first 10 clients and those kind of things.
So you said your ideal client would be like a gun owner who doesn't, or just basically needs some training on it.
Correct.
What about options for not having guns?
So that's a great question, and I'm going to share. Just this morning, I was sharing this with Judy back here this morning because I startled her back in the when I was in the room doing a little post. Sitting at my desk, getting ready for this, obviously trying to do my work, the 5 Ps, right? And I'm not going to go over those, but come ask me if you don't know. So I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm working on the computer, and in my peripherals, I have my door going to my backyard open, and there's a stairs that go up, stairs that go downstairs. My son his room's downstairs. So I hear my dog bark, and I see in my peripherals a silhouette moving from the door out. I don't know how I did it, but within seconds, man, I had 2 rocks, and I was about to David and Goliath, whoever this silhouette was that came into my house. And then it's my son, and I've got I got the adrenaline, so I had to shake it off. I've got goosebumps. I'm like, oh, man, all right, I got to shake this off and stuff. But I'm now like, how did I get 2, perfectly smooth round pebbles in my hand in seconds? In seconds. And it's because I'm always ready. I'm vigilant. I'm aware. And if you want to be prey, then be prey. And prey is going to heads down, not aware of their surroundings. If you actually want to be someone who's like more of the sheepdog, right? Because the sheepdog, and kind of getting back to that analogy, the sheepdog looks a lot like the wolf, has a lot of similar features as a wolf, but is loyal to protecting the sheep. And there's 3 different kinds of people, and we're all born in different ways. Talk to Robert if you want to find a little bit more about your characterization. Little plug there, Rob. Yes, there's other alternatives other than firearms. Because, yeah, people have different opinions and perspectives on firearms. Absolutely. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah.
How do you integrate the children into this training? They're obviously a part of the household.
Absolutely. So in the premium package, we're going to be doing walkthrough rehearsals and different things, incorporating different scenarios where your children at home, how they respond. So whenever going back to that Alabama story that I shared with you, right? In that story, my wife and I practiced on, okay, hey, threats coming from the front door. This is how we're going to clear the house in the dark. And we did rehearsals. We walked through it. Different things that we're going to say to try to de-escalate, saying, hey, you know, at the end of the day, you don't want to take somebody's life. Because going back to that same person in Afghanistan who's just ignorant, desperate, and just hopeless, their situation, their circumstances put them in a position where they feel like they need to come into your house. It's not about going out and just pulling the trigger. So I love your question because, yeah, it's not about taking their life. It's about getting them out of your house. And sometimes you need to have a bigger stick, right? So with that, with my children, we had the practice, if you hear any loud things at night, drop down to the ground, get underneath the bed. With the mechanism of stop, specific targeting, opportunistic posturing, with that comes into like, okay, so let's just say there's a door here, there's a hallway here that goes into a bathroom, but I've got my son's bathroom and my daughter's our bedroom on either side. Well, I need to make sure I posture myself where I put the person I'm trying to get out of my house in such a way where I'm not going to be aiming over my kids or into my kids' room. So that's that posturing aspect of things. Additionally, just having the kids know, like, hey, if you see her loud shouting or loud things, they need to go through those rehearsals too, dropping down on the bed and hiding underneath the bed or finding into a closet or something that's more that. So it's case by case, but it's a great question, Sam, incorporating the kids into the whole thing.
Okay, I think we've got time for one quick question.
I like the fact that you've been emphasizing situational awareness and knowing what's beyond your target. I was actually threatened with a court-martial during the invasion of Iraq for failing to open fire because of what was behind my target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so I mean that's something I've noticed a number of firearms instructors don't emphasize enough is, yeah, you can see your target, but what's beyond your target? Because if you hit and overpenetrate or if you miss, what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm. That plays into a lot of different things just beyond firearms. I had a black bear when I was living in Florida. There's black bears all over there getting in trash cans. So I had a black bear in my trash. Initial response of living in Florida for a month was like, hey, bear, how are you doing? So I go run to my son's room. I grab his slingshot. It's like one of those fancy, like, strong slingshots. And I go there, and I've got my little marble, and I have got it pulled back. This bear's about to meet his maker, or at least get scared off. Probably just get scared off here. I'm overthinking myself a little too much, right? And as I'm pulling back, and I've got it aimed, I got it locked on, right? Everything's set up. Just behind the bear was a new Volkswagen GW GTI, like, super sweet car is my neighbor's car. And I'm like, I'm pretty good with a slingshot, but am I really that good? And like, next thing I know, I've got busted windows, but, you know, cracked fender and that kind of stuff like that. So it plays into a lot of those things of just being situationally aware of what's going on and really the math associated with firearms and really rocks or whatever. And on beyond that, what happens even after you pull that trigger? Like, what are the steps to do after you pull that trigger? Because now you're just going to let them bleed out. Now you got to take care of them and those kind of things. So, and that's really our approach is during this training, I want to caveat that there's never a trigger pulled and rounds ejected or shot. We don't do, it's all dry fire. There's no actual like shooting going on. I've got other partners in the community that can teach range safety and how to actually aim and fire and shoot those things. But for liability purposes and doing this training in the home, no, safety is going to be paramount. So,
time for our super special question.
Oh, sorry. What can we as Colorado Springs business community do to help you?
Great question. Best part, right? The best question, right? When you're up here presenting, clientele. That's going to be my biggest thing. Right now we have 0 clients. Just help me get the word out of what we're trying to do. If you have ideas or feedback, I'm always welcome to those ideas and feedback, and I may put it on different phases of the training and program because that's kind of what it's more of chess than actual checkers. But clientele, if you can just take our story, our mission, our website, the QR code on the flyer there goes straight to our website. If you can just share that with others, God bless you, that would be just a major, major help in getting this thing kicked off and get started. That may push the timeline up too, Frank. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If I start getting some demand out there and start getting things set up, like I said, I've already postured it where I've got other contractors to come in and help out. So thank you. Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it, ma'am.
Okay, I was delighted to introduce our media sponsor, Fedde Studios.
Hey everyone, my name is Kevin, and my business is Fedde Studios. I do video stuff, photography, wedding, commercial stuff. I do live stream stuff. I do drone stuff. So, if you need help with any of that stuff, definitely let me know.
I'm going to ask Vernon to come up here real quick. You guys, who recognizes Vernon? It's great to see Luis too. I don't know if it's amazing when we haven't seen someone in 2 years and they show up again. So Vernon used to be our media sponsor. And when he stepped back, it's because, you want to share a little bit? Please, if you will. This amazing guy.
Okay. All right. Kind of put me on the spot here, but
I did. I'm sorry.
So when I stopped being a media sponsor here, I started working for local news, 11 News, over the weekends, and then I also launched online business directory. So I'll ask everyone to claim their business on my directory.
Nice, can do. You can.
I plan on
yes,
doing a presentation here too.
Excellent. That's what I was going to say. So when are you presenting? But it's always amazing to launch someone into something new. And way back when he had told us, this opportunity came because they saw all the work that I did for 1 Million Cups. So it's always our goal to be the nest. That's what an entrepreneur support group is. And then you come back when you have something new and you need some more support. So it's beautiful to see things like that happen. So glad to see some remake faces, I guess you could call it.
I agree. It's wonderful to see successes that we know that we helped nurture. Are there any first-time visitors today here? Yay! We got one. Yeah, welcome. We love having new-time visitors. Personal question, because I get asked this when I submit the numbers. How many of you are entrepreneurs? Wow. Okay, so I'm accurate, about 95%. Organizers, please raise your hands. So if you're interested in presenting or have questions about the group, please approach one of us. And alumni presenters, please raise your hands. Alumni presenters. Thank you all, everybody. We appreciate your help. Tag us on Facebook and Instagram. And we are at, what, a quarter till? Yeah, about 15 minutes. So what I'd like to introduce to you, and I'm going back 2 weeks or so when Rosemary from Alzheimer's Association spoke to us. We talked about the importance of self-care when caring for a loved one with memory loss. As entrepreneurs, it's just as critical to practice self-care. I know for one, I've been in multiple businesses for 20 years. I tend to get really laxed on self-care. Samantha and I talked about this, and there are different levels. As you scale your business, ideally, the amount of self-care you give to yourself needs to increase. Some of the suggestions that I've heard while talking to you before presenting today, for emceeing today, are the different things that you can do. It doesn't have to be expensive. We think of self-care as a spa day or a vacation, spending days or weeks out. It could be a few hours. We're our presenter today, yoga instructor. Take a yoga class. Do yoga outside. I do yoga year-round. Good days. We've got so many parks. We've got free concerts. spend time getting to know your neighbors. Taking a day off was suggested. Sometimes you just need to be a couch potato for the whole day. Are there anybody else have some suggestions, ideas on self-care? The gym, yeah, a good solid workout.
Taking a drive through the mountains.
Perfect.
Find an activity that matches your skill and the challenge level. So you're always trying to progress, but at some point you'll plateau, and it just has to be fun in that realm. So yeah.
Make sure you get some good sleep and rest.
Setting boundaries and having an end time for your day or a start time for your day, depending on your schedule.
I'm guilty of that one.
And make sure you're taking your omega-3 for your brain health and then reducing the sugar. She touched all around those without specifically saying, but seriously, guys, especially right now is the time to double up on omega-3. Actually, can we raise that up? and reducing the sugar, because what happens is our hippocampus within our brain shrinks and becomes like a raisin, and we don't want that. That's what causes that memory loss and a whole bunch of other things. So double up on your omega-3 right now and reduce that sugar.
Get your colonoscopies at age 45 is a new recommendation, and mammogram is sometime between the age of 40 and 50. They actually have specials at Colorado Springs Imaging in May and October for mammograms to get it for $99 instead of $170.
How about inner child work? Going back to childhood, breaking up those resolving childhood trauma so that it does not manifest as pain today.
Taekwondo class with your family.
I'm going to add to all of those laughter. Laughter increases productivity. Laughter increases oxytocin. And petting your dog. If you have a dog, sorry, cat people. I don't either, but I tell you, I'm amazed at how many friends will let me go and have puppy time. Yes. Any other suggestions? Those of us that are watching online, live streaming, if you have some.
Collect less stuff.
And our presenter, one of our new attendees also, hopefully she'll be presenting soon, is out there to help you reduce your clutter. Mimi the Motivator, yes, she's really good with that. Anybody else want to add to this? Volunteer reading, yes. We've got an awesome library system. Just a little teaser here. Check back in August. Good things happening with regards to the library. Anything else? Attitude. Ice cream, yeah. Well, there's a thought. Doggy ice cream with no sugar. Those of you that date yourself, there was a product called dog food that Campbell's put out. It was for people. Yeah, this is back in the 70s, guys. I'm dating myself. Have fun. Connect with people. It's so important as entrepreneurs to make sure that we have that time. The more, the bigger you grow your business, the more critical this is. Most of us, you will probably agree, when we're doing business, it's 24/7. You wake up at 2 in the morning, I've got an idea. Or, you start worrying about something. Ugh. I'm doing my best to remember to take time to play and have some fun. I'd like to bring Judy up as our wonderful location sponsor.
Hey guys, welcome to The Next Us. Always thanks for helping to come support the entrepreneurs. Love hearing the stories every week. It's something amazing. one thing that really was cool here last night, we had a grand opening with Benji Toe, physical therapist, and a huge show out for him. We actually have some extra healthy juice. It's carrots, beets, and lemonade in the back if anybody's interested. So thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks for supporting entrepreneurs. And we'll see you next week.
We're going to be wrapping up just a few minutes early today. Please remember to pick up your coffee cups. Help us kind of keep the room nice and tidy. Everybody who's watching online, thank you for tuning in. You can watch this recorded version of it. We do appreciate all of you that attend, give your energies, giving your input. One final thought. This is a quote by, apologize for the mispronunciation of the name, Rabindranath Tagore, a Bengali poet born in the 19th century, asked, "Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but the heart to conquer it." See you next week.